So as dancers, we know it's super important to have adequate cardiovascular stamina to meet the demands of rehearsals, performances, and to a lesser extent classes. But how do we maintain some level of cardiovascular activity when we're sheltered in place? In today's video, I will take you through a HIIT program that requires very little space. And here's how it will work. I will take you through the first round of exercises. Each exercise will be performed for 45 seconds with 30 seconds of rest between sets. When you get to the end of the recorded set, rewind and start again. You could start with one set and work your way up to 3, 4, or 5. A few words of caution, however. I would suggest wearing tennis shoes, especially if you're going to do this indoors, because floors may be harder in your home than they would be in a dance studio. If you can, go outside and do this on grass or a softer surface. And lastly, as usual, nothing should hurt. All right, everyone, so the first exercise we're going to do are prances. Or little runs in place. I want you to make sure that you're wearing your sneakers, that you're on the softest possible surface, and that you don't get too far off the ground to start with. So on your mark, get ready, get set, and let's go. So you're going to see, I'm going to start taking off little tiny steps so I'm not getting too far off the ground. And remember, as always, you're going to look for alignment at your hips, knees, and toes. My feet are sickling a little bit as I do this exercise, so make sure yours are pointed straight down. And I'm on a pretty hard surface, so I'm really staying close to the ground, so I'm doing tiny little jogs in place, and I've made sure to wear my sneakers. If possible, you should be outside. Keep going. You're a little more than halfway there. Good. Make sure you're landing in plie and that you're not landing in straight knee. 3, 2, 1, and relax. All right, everyone, take a 30-second breather while I explain to you how we're going to do our squats. So first, you're going to stand with your feet hip width or a little more than hip width apart and your hands behind your head. Your feet can be a tiny bit turned out, but make sure you're not in second. Then you're going to squat down as low as you can. Make sure that your chest is open and your elbows are out towards the side, please. So without further ado, ready, set, and go. So I want you to notice right away that as I'm going, my knees, my hips, and my toes are staying in a line, so my knees are not wobbling in and out as I go down and up. The other thing is I'm trying really hard to keep my chest super open and my back flat as I go down. I have a really hard time with doing squats in a true parallel position, so I have opted to be a little spread with my feet. But I want you to be careful not to do too much of a sumo squat as you're doing this exercise. All right, everyone, you're more than halfway there. Keep going. 2, 1, stop. All right, everyone, time for another 30-second breather while we talk about the next exercise, which is side shuffles. So you're going to start by bringing one leg out to the right and then gathering your legs up in center like so. You'll be a little bit in the air. And then you're going to shuffle to the other side, bring your leg out to the other side, and then you'll bring your legs back up in the air and repeat again. So, are you ready? Get set and go. So as always, I want you to notice that my hips, knees, and toes stay in about the same alignment that I choose, so I'm not wobbling in and out. I'm also pitch forward a tiny bit. You can stay upright if this suits your fancy a little bit more. You're about halfway through. Keep going. You can also experiment with making their steps a little bit bigger depending on the space that you have. You're about 15 seconds to the finish line. Keep going. And 3, 2, 1, and stop. Okay, time for another breather as I talk to you a little bit about walkouts. So you're going to start standing up straight, and then you're going to fold over and walk yourself all the way out into a plank position. From there, you're going to push your hips back up to the ceiling like a down dog. Keep your knees straight as long as possible and walk your arms back in. And then you'll come to a standing position and you will start again. Okay, ready, set, and go. Good. So I'm walking all the way out to a plank, and then as I come back, my knees are staying straight. And when I stand up, I'm standing up like a reverse flat back, so I'm not rounding up, but I'm using my glutes to stand from a hip hinge, walk all the way out, come on back, and stand all the way out, back, and stand. So I'm doing these pretty quickly, but you can slow them down if you need to. You are more than halfway there. Keep going. Good. And 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, last thing in this circuit before you take a little bit more of a rest, we're going to do bear crawls. You're going to start on all fours and bring your knees about an inch off the floor. And then with opposite arm and leg, you're going to crawl back 2 steps and then front 2 steps. All the time keeping your knees hovering off the ground. All right, you ready? Set and go. All right, so notice as I go that my hips aren't wobbling too much from side to side, and that my back is staying relatively flat. And also note that my knees are just hovering above the ground. My knees aren't coming more than about 4 inches off the ground. You're more than halfway there. Keep on going. Good. Opposite arm and leg come forward. Opposite arm and leg come back. 2, 1, and take a break. Give yourself a solid 1 to 2 minute breather. Take a sip of water and start again at the 1 minute mark if you're feeling like you got it in you. If anything bothers you, omit that particular exercise or modify as necessary. Remember, do not work through discomfort. If you've got questions, feel free to reach out, and otherwise, thank you very much.